Ireland's troubadour Percy French with his popular recitation, The Four Farrellys, where he takes us to the four corners of Ireland, north, south, east and west, ending up in a bog below Belmullet in the county of Mayo. In a small hotel in London, I was sitting down to dine when the waiter brought the register and asked me if I'd sign. And as I signed, I saw a name that caused my heart to stir. A certain Francis Farrelly had signed that register. Now, I had known a lot of Farrellys, and out of all the crew, I kind of started wondering, which Farrelly were you? And as I finished dinner and sat back in my chair, I went round my native land to find which Farrelly you were. Were you that keen-eyed Kerryman I met below Kenmare, who told me that when Ireland fought, the odds were never fair? That if Cromwell had met Sarsfield, or with Owen Roe O'Neill, 'tis not to Mr. Gladstone we'd be looking for a pale. Wanted Ireland for the Irish, not a Saxon to be seen, and only Gaelic spoken in that house in College Green. Told me landlords were the devil, and their agents 10 times worse, and every kind of government in Ireland was a curse. Well, if you're that Francis Farrelly, your dreams have not come true, but sláinte Francine, for I do like a man like you. Or were you that Francis Farrelly who often used to say he'd like to bait them papishes from Derry walls away? The boy who used to coax me that Orange Lodge to join, and thought that history started with the Battle of the Boyne. I was not always with you, Francie. Hey, the Pope is not my friend, but still, please God, he'll not come to such a bitter end. And when you're free from care yourself and get to kingdom come, there's no point teaching you the harp. You'll play the orange drum. Och man, you were a fighter, of that there is no doubt. For I seen you in Belfast one night when the Antrim Road was out. And many a time that evening I thought that you were dead, the way them papish paving stones kept hopping off your head. Well, if you're that Francis Farrelly who came from North Tyrone, here's looking at you, Francie, but leave the Pope alone. Or were you that Francis Farrelly who in me college days, for strolling on the Kingstown pier, had such a curious craze? Do you mind them lovely sisters, the blonde and the brunette? I don't think you've forgotten, and I never will forget. That picnic at the Dargle, the other one at the Scalp, how my heart was palpitating. Hers wasn't, not a palp. They say you married money, and maybe you were wise, but the gold you loved was in her hair, and the diamonds in her eyes. And I'd like to think you married her, and that you're with her yet. 'Twas some militia officer that married the brunette. But the blondie one still loved you, and I know you love her too. So me blessings on you, Francie, and the blue sky over you. Or were you that Francis Farrelly I met so long ago in that bog below Belmullet in the county of Mayo? That long-legged, freckled Francie with the deep-set, wishful eyes that seemed to take their colour from the ever-changing skies, who put his flute together as I sketched the distant scene and played me Planxty Kelly and the wakes of Inishkeen, who told me in the autumn he was heading to the west to try and make his fortune and send money to the rest. And would I draw a picture of the spot where he was born, and he'd hang it up and look at it and not feel so forlorn. And when I had it finished, got up from where he sat and said, well, you're the devil, and I can't say more than that. Well, if you're that Francis Farrelly, your treasure may be small, but I'm thinking, Francie, that I loved you best of all, and I never have forgotten, though it's years and years ago, that bog below Belmullet in the county of Mayo.